my allegiance is to Africa. My allegiance is to the African people. It is incumbent upon me to encourage and help and uplift my people of Africa. I don't pledge allegiance to anywhere else, not India for that matter. I pledge my allegiance to the people here, and I'm an African. So I thought I just might say that. And also I've heard some comments about how there was no predominantly Afrikaans articles based in the newspaper, or lack thereof. And I think I've explained that already. When I approached students, willing students who wanted to be on the editorial team, no one approached me for the Afrikaans editorial position. Although we do accept Afrikaans and yes, even English articles in our newspaper, our core is African issues, and our core is African ones and African means of expression. And I think some people are also wondering why the name Vernac came about. And this again, this is a discussion between myself and Kwezi. We discussed maybe having at first Indaba, but that had two problems. One, it was a bit too formal, and secondly, and most importantly, it wasn't fully representative of what I wanted the newspaper to be. If someone, for example, a Tswana-speaking person saw Indaba, they would not really have an inclination to pick it up, simply because of the name. So I wanted to avoid something like that, and we thought, well, Vernac is the best that we can do and we can go forward with, because it derives from the English word vernacular, which means languages of a land, and that's really what the newspaper is about, promoting the languages of the land. So I just thought, without further ado, Nolubuyo can talk about her experiences and what she thinks about the topic of discussion today.
So, the issue around what is an African institution, it's a complex question, difficult question, but which we will always need to be engaging on. But there are certain aspects that you need to be saying to the institution, you need to change these things. This whole issue around the statute is not only about that. You need to look at it in a broader context. You need to look at the whole institutional symbolism around how UCT represents black people in this space. Because, even if you were to look at the discourse around the statute, it's very much negative. And how do you expect people to change if the institutions that were there to ensure that black people are excluded still remain the same in terms of the culture, in terms of symbolism? People won't change. And whenever the time arises, they are going to come out with their particular views. Because if you have to look at the discourse around what we are having now, it is very much similar to what people were saying in terms of the olden days. Look at the discourse. It will be black people, why are you behaving like children? Why are you being so uncivilized? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? That's so barbaric. Why are you black people throwing poo at a particular statue? That's the whole conversation around what we're having. But we're not speaking about the largely white kids who are doing what they call 6x7s, drinking alcohol, riding around, vomiting on each other. But we're not speaking about that. We're not speaking about the Jabuli water polo. White students drinking alcohol, vomiting on each other, and playing water polo. Who has to clean that? Who has to clean that? It is the black people that have been doing it. Why are we not speaking about that? Suddenly people care about black students. Suddenly there's this thing about, we are seeing a black worker. In fact, it shows you the situation of the black man in this institution. Black people had a protest, they call someone who's black to clean it up, because we don't have a choice. We have to end the leave. So that's, in short, what I want to say. But the discourse needs to be broader. We should not be speaking about the act in itself. Because I tell you, for a very long time, students have been protesting, have been saying that something is wrong about the statue, but the institution continually says, no, nothing is wrong about it. We are saying to the man, he gave the university land, and we are here to pay him for that. A statue is not the right way of doing it, because the statue glorifies somebody. We need to be engaging around that. We need to be engaging around the institutional symbolism. So that's what I'm saying.
A problematic, I don't even, maybe it's artwork, but I'm sure it's part of your survey of the artistic landscape at UCT. Yeah, so there's a lot of those things. Aka, thank you so much. But I mean, also You know, one of the things about this, which I really want to congratulate you guys for, is reviving our language and reminding us that actually it is beautiful to speak your own language. It's not just a good thing, but it also sounds great. I will take a round of questions, comments, feedback, etc. to anyone in the panel. Let's take, we'll go this way.
Communication in Management Studies. My issue is I just want to check from the Venek News people.
I told the blame that this story is unconvincing. And we don't have just time. People remember how our land was taken. That man didn't arrive there, convince us that we should, like, then we agreed as people. We should not just sit here and be analyzing that Ms. Price will do this, Ms. Price will do this. We don't have time for that. And this is Africa at the end.
The message was that white people in South Africa, you have continued to live your life on the backs of others. I want to tell you in your face that you are fucking extreme and smile which you are doing. And we want to say this each and every time, we keep on telling you, unless we deepen the discourse on transformation in UCT, this is where we can move forward. And I understand that we've been complaining. It's good to complain, man. Because we'll complain until the space is changed. We're not going anywhere. We'll reclaim this space, we'll decorate in our own colors, and invite people to eat it.
How this university understands diversity to be. When they say we are a university that is diverse, they show us figures. Like we have this many black students, this many Indian students, so we are a diverse university. And I think now it's time to actually move past the figures. And it's time to look at the actual experience. But we can't change the experience until we start looking up to the people who are the gatekeepers of knowledge, the people who have knowledge in order to transform the experience that we have on campus.
Idea of like the African history and students wanting to learn about that. I'm doing my honours in African Studies this year. There's 3 students doing their honours in African Studies. And we always talk about how like it's so competitive to get into honours and how everyone wants to do honours in humanities. There's 3 students. 3 students wanting to do their honours or postgrad in African Studies. And I think that it's also just like the way we view the history. Last year I sat on the Naming of Buildings Committee. And obviously, it's not just there's a John Rhodes, there's a broader symbolism, and obviously we want to change the culture, and the naming of buildings is a really important aspect of that. But the criteria for to name a new building almost makes it impossible for that transformation to happen. Like the criteria.
But part of the problem that I'm facing is appealing to my black African brothers and sisters about issues of sexuality and discrimination on campus. Because the truth is, we may be arguing about the Cecil John Rose statue on the basis that it brought racism to this country. But what Cecil's legacy left behind was the discrimination along the lines of sexual orientation. They brought the gender binary, and those are the things that we as an SRC stay bringing up. But we get white people at our dialogues. We get white people engaging with us on these issues. So my question to the room would be, to someone like me who is not just a black man or a black woman, but who is a black transgender woman, what role do I play in all of this discourse? Because already the people that are at the forefront of this movement themselves, in their individual capacity, when they walk around this campus, some of them have discriminated against me. So what are we talking about? Because my culture says Batupila Amzana. It says recognize humanity before anything, but yet the conversations that I hear about food, symbolism, but we mentioned that
like Vernac, your left students, all these individuals within the SRC are trying to do these things to bring about transformation. To an extent, it happens in this space here where I see roughly the same people talking about the same stuff, and it's great. It is really much needed. But at some point in time, we have to realize that a lot of the things we're talking about are structurally based. This institution has a structurally based racism problem. And as much as we as individuals might want to try and create nice initiatives like Vernac News and all these things, at some point in time they reach limits. There's only so much you can do regarding these things. What I've heard from SRC members is when they do try and go to the roots to try and get the buildings renamed, they're facing backlog. They're facing trouble and red tape, which is an issue. So this is, I think, at the core of the problem we're talking about, because as much as, these spaces are needed to talk about these very real problems, they only really manifest something when a structure is changed. Otherwise, they just end up being these bubbles of consolidation.
Especially with curriculum change, and we see the need for curriculum change to get outside just to kind of Western view of philosophy. And I want to make 2 points, which is firstly that there are real barriers for people who are lecturers and are trying to do that, just in terms of the normal institutional bureaucracy. And secondly, that we really need people to participate in the first steps that we are taking. So I'll name one, which is that we've introduced a course which is UCT for philosophers, and you can take that in conjunction with your Introduction to Philosophy course or your Ethics course. And the idea is there to start building a bridge between philosophy in so-called analytical Western tradition and African philosophy, which currently in South Africa often you can only study it outside philosophy departments, which is wrong, I think. And secondly is to build a bridge between philosophy, the academic study of it, and philosophy, the philosophies that we're all brought up with when we grow up with a worldview. And one of the ways that the philosophy is transmitted to you from generation to generation is through language. And that's why we started in a collaboration with the Multilingualism Project to try to show the connections between IsiXhosa and a particular kind of worldview which differs from some of the worldview which you get.
Lento idla ngaphansi kuthini. Fanele siziqhenye ukuthi siphuma. Fanele sizithanda. Ngokuthi manje uma sogijima yonke indawo sithi soke sibona ubandlululo yonke indawo la sihamba khona akusizi ngalutho ngokuthi asiziqhenye. Ngokwalokho ithina manje fanele siqale sizibheke ngaphakathi sithi okay. Namhlanje anginandaba nokuthi ngizothini. Lo muntu lo njengabantu futhi thina separate ngathi ngoba khona abanye abantu abazogijima la abantu banemali kodwa bona bafuna ukuzenza belula kanjani fanele kube yithina esoqala lezi ngiyathanda ukuthi lo muntu obe-10 mfowethu la besho ngokuthi asiya kuloko esithi sifuna ushintsho cha lento ayifanele yenze ithina esifanele siqale ushintsho ngaphandle kwethu lento ayizokwenza ngeke sibheke abanye abantu basiqalele